Hi, everybody. This is Inside the TMC Family. I'm Faith Howard-Mooney from the Mortgage Collaborative, and one of our favorite people is with me this morning. He literally participates in everything that we do at TMC. I am so lucky to have Michael Jones, the CFO of Thrive Mortgage, with me. Thanks for doing this, Michael.
Thank you, Faith. I appreciate the collab, and it's always good. So happy to be here.
Yeah, you guys have just rolled past your 4-year anniversary with us. It seems really hard to believe that it's been that long, but we've had a few strange years this year. So you want to just give a little plug for Thrive and what Thrive is doing in the marketplace right now?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's been an odd year for everybody, but we have seen it as an actual. It's been a good year. We've been able to add some new products to our lineup, which helps in these more difficult markets. One of our products that just is continuing to hit a home run is our home-to-home loan, which is a bridge loan that allows people to buy a home. And we've even been able to tweak that and treat it like cash, which is a big deal. So that's been very helpful, and that makes us a very attractive organization. And then it's also really interesting and fun to work with our branch managers, even in these difficult times, because they have their business plans and we allow them to execute their business plans in a very specific way, and we support them in that. And so it's good to see them also roll up their sleeves and just pivot and figure out, okay, well, I need to be different in this market. How am I going to do that? So
Yep.
it's been a good year, even though there's been challenges.
Yep. And you're still growing. So you are
We
one of
are.
our lender members that is still growing and still looking to grow. So we, of course, wish you luck in doing that. Sometimes this market is good to people that have a really strong process. So we think you'll be one of them. Let's talk a little bit about you, though.
Sure.
So you've been involved in all of our things, and I honestly don't know what your story is, so I'm excited to hear. Share with me kind of what your first job ever that you held was.
Yeah, well, technically speaking, my first job ever was the secretary of Georgetown Mortgage, which was the name we had before Thrive. So we just did a brand change back in 2018, and just decided to change our name because we had a more national footprint. But I was, I believe, employee number 3 or employee number 4 of our organization. So it was a family company. It still is a family company. We opened doors in, I believe, June 2001 here in Georgetown. And so my summer job was picking up the phone and answering, and directing the calls. If I moved, yeah, I was in 8th grade at the time, and so I know, all the more special. So I got to learn, like, this is how you answer the phone, as a professional, as an employee. My next real job, I'll call it, was a computer repair technician. So I started that job whenever I was 15, 16, and really taught myself computers. And I would build them, I'd fix them. I moved into network solutions, and I actually started my own company called Jones Networking Services here in Georgetown whenever I was 16. I joined the Chamber of Commerce. I would go to all the functions, and I was charging people $60 an hour as a teenager to go fix their stuff. So
How
yeah,
awesome is that? That
it's
is like,
fun.
so you've always had that interest in technology and process improvement, and you've always been kind of an entrepreneurial spirit if
That's
you
right.
were doing that at 16. That's fabulous. Um, I think I kind of could assume the story of how you got into mortgage based on what you just said, but kind of share what your transition was after that.
Yeah. So, I even kind of questioned, am I going to go off to college or am I just going to do this computer thing? Right. Like this seems like a pretty good gig, but I did end up going to college. And I remember being a senior in high school, having sort of those life philosophical discussions with my parents about their job and the mortgage business. And I remember I was sitting in the car, and I'm sure they wanted to throttle me. I told them, I said, I don't know how you guys sit in your office all day long and do mortgages. I mean, that sounds terrible. I don't want anything to do with that at all. And so, I'm sure they just wanted to throttle me. Yeah. But I ended up going to Baylor, and the financial crisis hit while I was in school. So I was going to do real estate and finance, and I thought I was going to be some sort of real estate mogul. And that dream quickly died whenever the reality of the situation hit. And so I switched to accounting, got an accounting degree, got my CPA license, and went to work at PricewaterhouseCoopers in Dallas doing taxes. And, at that time, the family business was growing. It wasn't the little mom and pop shop anymore. We had multiple branches in multiple states. And I thought, this is a really neat thing they've built. I'm a little bit more mature now, so I can appreciate just the business aspect of it. And I thought, I want to join the company so that new young blood can enter in, and, maybe I can add to it. So the requirement was that nothing will be handed to you, and you need to go learn to be a salesman. And so I got into the business as a loan officer. I got licensed, and I built a decent little book of business because I could read tax returns. And so I could easily tell somebody if they qualified or not. So a lot of the self-employed business would come to me. Most of the realtors in the Dallas area knew, like, oh, that's the self-employed guy, go talk to him. And then I created a continuing education course for realtors to get 1 hour of CE if they went to my course. And I would teach them how to prepare their tax returns and avoid getting popped by the IRS if they got a little bit too heavy handed in their deductions. So, I mean, it was easy for me to walk into a real estate office and say, hey, guys, I'm going to teach you how to do this, and then send me all your self-employed clients, and so it worked out well. Yeah.
That is an awesome story. I love it that your parents weren't going to hand anything to you. That
Yep.
sounds like something that I would have said to my daughter as well. It's a great way to learn, is being involved. The one thing back then that you kind of wish you would have known getting into the business that now, after you've been in for a while, just seems so clear, and you just wish somebody would have told you.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought about that question, and I didn't have a good answer. I think one of the things I would have focused on more as a loan officer, and then tried to adopt a little bit more as a company, is just to get very, very good at ClickFunnels and online marketing, because it's tough to do that stuff anyway. SEO is always changing, and then you got to wonder, okay, is Facebook the right platform? TikTok, Instagram, what is going to be the next thing that really drives consumer engagement? And so that was one thing that I think I had an opportunity to learn. And I just, I got caught up in the daily whirlwind of trying to get loans in the door and increase my knowledge of mortgage. But I think had I done that, that would have served me well whenever I was producing. And then now in my role, I think it would have served our company well to just be ninjas when it comes to using that. But that's where we also rely heavily on our boots on the ground retail LOs, because they can embrace some of that, and that they have such great relationships in the community that it's kind of, it's one way or the other, right? There's no right answer of you got to have the best online presence or you got to be the best in the community. So we kind of lean more on the best in the community.
Yeah. There is no one answer, and I think different companies have different answers that support them better than others sometimes as well. Yep. If you were in mortgage, what do you think you would have done?
100%. I'd work at NASA or SpaceX, and I try to entertain some of those fantasies now. In fact, at the end of August, I'm going to go watch the new Artemis mission launch from Cape Canaveral in Florida. So it's basically like a repeat of the Saturn V rocket from the 1960s. This is the new version of that, and I'm going to go watch the maiden voyage. So if Elon ever offers me a job, I don't know, I may have to take him up on it.
You might have to take it.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Last question, it totally random. If you were, so recently we had a huge lottery winner in the United States. If you would have been the winner of that lottery, what would you do? And would you do anything different than what you're doing right now?
Yeah, man, that's a good question, because I think about that a lot. No, I don't think I would. I mean, obviously, space would be an interest, and I'd want to use that money to, maybe have my piece of the space industry. But I think as it relates to mortgage, I could certainly see deploying that money into our company and really just taking over the nation, right? Because we've never had a number like, oh, we got to get to 10 billion or 50 billion, or we got to be number 3. Like, we don't believe in that philosophy, because you make some bad decisions along the way, I think, if you're obsessed with your ranking and size of the market. But I think with that kind of capital, we could do some really cool things on the servicing side, more so than we do now. You can offer the lowest rates in the country, and just sort of burn through that capital. I mean, that's kind of what some of the folks out there do. But I just think like being able to use those funds to invest and really become just a household name, I think would be a lot of fun. And of course, I'd use some of it for space. And
I was going to say, I expected you to say that you were going to be on the next SpaceX flight, and
I think I would
see it like floating around up there.
Yeah. Yep. No, I probably would. Yeah. I'm sure Elon would pay attention to me if I said, "Hey man, I got $1 billion, what can we do?"
Yeah, I'm sure that may get someone's attention. Well, appreciate you doing this with us as always. You are always so quick to respond to us. We're amazed by how much you manage to get done in a day, and love that you contribute so much to others who are in our TMC family. So thanks for doing this.
Sure, absolutely. I love the TMC family.